Boys and girls, ladies and gents, welcome to another episode of Clutch Conversations. It's your boy Mike. We are back at you one more again, live on a Thursday night, man. How y'all doing? How you doing? How you living? How you feeling, man? Been looking forward to this all week. First and foremost, as always, shout out to my lovely wife, Takara, for holding us down, keeping us organized, keeping the comments up, keeping us organized in the background. Really appreciate all the help. Appreciate everybody in the chat. We're going to get to you in just a second. A little bit of housekeeping, though. Please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed already, and everybody make sure you hit that notification bell. Really appreciate the support. Definitely go check us out on all the audio platforms or all the audio podcast platforms. We are on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and more. So wherever you check out your audio podcast, make sure you go check out Clutch Conversations. And while you're there, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. Really helps us out. Appreciate the support. Speaking of support, make sure you're supporting US Art and US Art Florida. The links for both organizations are in the description of this video. Make sure you go out there and support the folks that's supporting us. Get a membership, shoot some donations, do whatever you can do, but all the support helps. Tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. Definitely show some support. Speaking of, let's holler at the folks in the chat. Let's see who we got. What's good, Keys? Hey, y'all make sure y'all, speaking of support, y'all make sure y'all go out there and you check out the homie 15 Minutes of Lame on Snakes and the Fat Man. It is out now. It came out yesterday. Go check it out. I checked it out. It's dope as hell, and you know it was going to be. So make sure you go check that out. Show the homie some love. We got the guest showing love in the chat. What's good? What's good? Big Ray Blade. Let's fucking go. Let's go, bruh. Salute. The big homie Jason. What's good? Ancestral Royal Pythons. Holly, what's good? Thanks for coming out. Thanks for the support. See who else we got. The big homie Justin showing love. What's good? Lakers Pythons. What's good? The Sultan of Support, the homie Bosa. Kike, what's good, brother? Eric's More Factory, what's good? Thank you for coming out. Thank you for coming out. We got the homie Rock in the building. What's good? What's good? Thanks for coming out, brother. See who else we got. PCF Royals, what's good? What's good? Pied and J Reptiles, what's good? What's good? If it's your first time, please hit that subscribe button. We at like 950 something. We almost at 1,000, so help the fam out. Hit that subscribe button. Serp Works, appreciate the love. Thanks for coming out. Appreciate all the support, continued support, sharing us on Instagram and social media platforms. Really appreciate the support. Appreciate the love. 352 in the building. What's good? The big homie Brian. What's good, homie? See who else we got. Mystery Morphs. What's good? What's good? Sweet Serpents Tampa. The homie Byron. What's good? Thanks for coming out. The homie Kent. What's good, brother? Thank you for coming out. Morph Master J. What's good, Johnny? The homie Levi. What's good? Windy City Morse, what's good? What's good? See who else. Make sure I don't miss nobody. Try to get everybody. RC Reptiles, what's good? What's good? I think that's everybody. Oh, the homie Chad, what's good, brother? Thanks for coming out. Appreciate the support. Alvaro, what's good? Thanks for coming out. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for coming out. Appreciate all the love, man. The chat is going crazy. I really appreciate all the support. We got Wifey in the chat saying what's up to everybody. Y'all make sure y'all show us some love in the chat. The chat wouldn't be popping without Wifey. So y'all make sure y'all show Takara some love in the chat. I'm gonna stop it right there. We're gonna stop on a high note. We're gonna kick this intro real quick. We got something brand new for y'all. So here we go.
Baby, baby, won't you listen to me? I got that flavor, I know you're dying to feed. I ain't no dancer, just got some hip in my feet. Now throw your hands up. Ooh, you bring the lighter, I got the fuse. You make a fire, I'll add the fuel. Follow my lead, just watch your shoes. Gotta turn the heat up to get this cool. Who you know who looking like this for real? Who you know who looking like this? Who you know who looking like this for real? Who you know who looking like this? Who you know who looking like this for real? Who you know who looking like this? Who you know who looking like this for real? Who you know who looking like this?
Episode 53, BNS Reptilia. Yes, sir.
Cheers.
What's good, bro? How's it going? How's it going?
Great. Doing well, man. Doing good.
Cool, man. Cool,
Yeah.
cool. What you got going on?
Nothing. Just trying to enjoy the night, trying to enjoy the weather. I'm waiting for some more warmer weather. That's it. Warming up. I'm tired. I'm done with it. We're done with the winter. Let's go.
Yeah, I was giving you a little bit of hard time backstage, but it's
80.
like, yeah, how was 83 today? It's like 70 now.
Killing me.
Yeah, but in the summer, it'll probably be way better for y'all, though. Like, when that humidity pick up here and them temps up, man, it's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
I'd much rather be up there. So I was up there in Pennsylvania in like June, and it felt way better than it feels here in June. So
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Even when I was down there in September, it was still bumping, man. We were at a wedding outside, and it was just cooking us. Even September, I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, I like it, but it's still hot.
yeah, it'd be hot, and then it'd be humid on top of that, man. It don't take no prisoners, bro. It got you. Like sometimes, man, the humidity be so high, like you can walk outside and like lose your breath a little bit just because the humidity is so crazy, bro.
Yeah, you can't take deep breaths. You got to take shallow. You got to be real shallow.
Exactly.
That's great. I love it.
Exactly, man. And so, real quick, man, introduce yourself for those who may not know, who may watch the video later. Introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Chris. I own and operate BNS Reptilia. We've been in the business hobbies for just about 10 years now. Started about 2013, started as a hobby, and then over the last couple of years just really turned into a business and really focused more on, generating income and turning into an actual business, and then just instead of just paying for itself, actually becoming my job. So we pretty much got to that point now where I'm just working part-time in between that and the rats. That's what we're doing. We mostly focus on ball pythons, but do definitely like to venture out and mess with other species as well. Blood pythons, boas, pine snakes, bull snakes, Mexican black kings. Trying to think what else. Maybe a few other things, but that's kind of like one thing. Every year I try to do a different, species or subspecies of some sort, just to kind of, keep entertaining myself, something new to add to like the resume.
Gotcha. I saw somebody had picked up like a blood python from you recently, and they posted. It was pretty dope looking too. Yeah, it was dope.
Yeah, she's beautiful. She's nice. Yeah, she was just glowing when the sunlight hits them, man. The T positives, they're just like orange. They just, they kick. Yeah.
Gotcha. So outside of reptiles, what else do you like to do?
I'd like to hunt. That's a big passion of mine. Archery, that's a big deal. Every fall, through winter or whatnot, archery hunt and just go through the season. That takes up most of my time through there, but it's tough. It's not tough. It's easy to delegate a little time to both, but because it slows down a little bit in the winter time, you can't really ship much. So, but in the fall it gets a little tough, but you make it work. Definitely.
Okay. So when you hunting, is it all bow and arrow hunting, or you also
Yeah,
shooting?
Mostly
all
archery.
going.
Mostly
Okay, nice,
archery. The archery season
nice.
starts first, and then it runs into the rifle and shotgun and all that. So, if you don't get anything in archery, you can go out and shotgun or rifle, depending on where
Okay,
you're at in the state. So, if so, then we'll go into that. And yeah, so it's
all
not
right.
just archery. I will use a gun too. Yeah,
So, what are you hunting primarily? Like deer?
mostly deer. Yeah, mostly deer, bear, turkey. Mostly
Okay,
the bigger game of PA. Yeah.
okay,
No
okay.
elk. Yeah, we're not as far west out to get some elk out there.
Gotcha.
But out
Okay,
by
that's
State
what's up.
College, a little further out that way, there is some.
You saying State College?
Out a little further past it. You gotta go out a little further past it. But yeah, you're not too far out. It's
Okay,
beautiful
that's what's
out
up,
there, man. Yeah.
man. And it's beautiful out there.
Oh,
It's
it is.
man, like
Yep.
that's one of the most beautiful landscapes that I've seen. I posted it on my IG. Like I was just, bro, I was enamored with it, bro. Like real talk. Like it was just so dope. Like I mean, the greens were so green, the
Mm-hmm.
weather was so nice, man. Just the hills, because here it's like pretty much just flat everywhere, but not there, man. It was like the mountains, man. Like I said, the greens were so green. It was just crazy, bro. I was awestruck. I ain't gonna even lie. Like it
Oh,
was.
yeah. I forget what the town is. Like Clearfield. I think it's Clearfield that's out there. I was out there about 6 years ago with the wife, and we stayed at a bed and breakfast and went to a winery and stuff. This was pre-kids and everything, and it was beautiful out there, like you said, just open, all green, and just it's nice. It's great country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good footage out there too, like good video footage. I wish I would have got more. I wish I had more time to get more. Like had I expected to be like that beautiful, I probably would have like arranged it so I could like stay like another day or two just to kind of like take in like some of the surroundings, because I was there for work, and so I was primarily focused on work like the entire time I was there. So I didn't really get to get out and do that much and get out and about. But had I known, I would have like scheduled some more time just to kind of
Yeah.
get out and about and see it.
And just de-stress and just enjoy the moment. Yep, just like we were
Exactly.
talking about, enjoying the moment, man. Besides all that stuff, the rest of my attention goes to my two boys, man. Big on the family, so spend a lot of time with them. I'm home a lot with them while the wife works, or vice versa. So yeah.
Nice. That's what's up, man. Yeah, enjoying the moment.
Hmm?
They pass by quickly. They
Oh
pass
yeah,
by
I
quickly.
got them out there in
They'll
the
be
rack.
gone before you know it.
I got them down here cleaning snake cages. We're putting them to work already.
Like it's funny, like we was talking about how quickly time passes behind stage, and like just thinking back on when my kids were small, like it seems like it was like just yesterday, but
Yep.
but they grow up so quick. Like my son, he's a junior, my daughter, she's a freshman. My son like 6'2", 6'1", 6'2", taller than me, obviously. My daughter's like my exact height. Like it's just they just
You
grow up so quickly,
remember
bro.
when they were like 9'1" or
Yeah.
5? Yep.
Like I remember my son being like 6 months and like crawling up the stairs of this apartment we was at. Like bro, like so it's like, hey, what are you doing crawling upstairs at 6 months? Like, why are you this advanced?
Yep. Yep.
And then B,
Go.
like, yeah, crazy times, crazy time. So what inspired you to become a snake breeder? Like, how did you get on this path?
It always amazed me from day one. So when I was younger, I grew up, I own the house now that I grew up in as a kid. So like all the woods I used to run around in and catch snakes in, and all the honey holes I used to ride my bike to as a kid and snatch snakes up with. Like I live in that house now, and it's cool raising my kid there. And so that's what kind of triggered the whole thing as a kid, just growing up, runs around through the woods, snakes, frogs, turtles, it didn't matter. And I just remember catching gravid water snakes and garter snakes in like late May, like early June. After they come out of hibernation, they breed. I was catching them all gravid, and I raise them and watch them have babies. And I was just always like, man, this is great. This is so cool. And I'd mess with them for a couple days, maybe a week, see if I could get them to eat like a minnow from the stream for the water snakes, or the garter snakes to eat worms and stuff like that. And then I would just let them go, or I call it the parents and everything. So that always amazed me. And then I remember finding eggs one time and then artificially incubating them and hatching like ringnecks out. And I thought that was really cool. And then from there, they've just sparked my interest. And when I got a job, I had money of my own. So I kept my grades up, and I acquired like I think I was like 14 or 15. I had like 30 snakes, but they were all like different species. I had like some Burmese pythons. I had some boas. I had a pair of blood pythons. I had a bunch of crazy weird stuff, some iguanas. I wasn't really focused. I was just collecting a bunch of crap at that point, you know? And it was pretty cool. I enjoyed it for a little while. And then I got into some trouble and got rid of, everything. Had to liquidate the whole collection. And then in 2013, a buddy of mine, the B in BNS, he came in. He's like, my daughter wants a pet snake. And I haven't looked at snakes in, I don't know what, 10, 12 years at this point in line. I looked online and my mind was just blown, like what it had come to in just that amount of time. And then the rest is history, man. We bought some baby bags. We bought a gravid female, hatched them, and then just went off to the races, man. Did the whole Craigslist, buying up people's little collections, man.
Been there, done that.
In the beginning, and here we are. We're a lot better. We got some good racks finally. So it takes time. You just go through a process.
So touch on that a little bit. The B in BNS. That's something I wanted to ask. So it's great you brought it up. So touch on the B in BNS and what was behind that.
So in 2013, like just for whatever I don't even know if that's when we came up with the name. I think it was just still like hobby until like 14 or 15 when we actually had a collection of like 60 or so. Then we were like, well, if we're going to do shows and sell these animals, we got to have a name, we got to have cards, we got to do something, And 2016, it wasn't really huge, the swag and everything. And just some of that stuff was just gaining traction and stickers and whatnot. So we had business cards and we did local shows, and it was just me and my buddy. It was the Jason Bracolic. That's where the B comes from. B, okay. And then the S is Shelly.
Bracolic.
Yeah.
Bracolic. Okay, gotcha.
And then the S is Shelly, which is my last name. So it's just the S. And then from 2014 till I want to say right like as COVID hit, that spring, I started talking to Stuart, and it was like March, right? And COVID hit. I had an online interview with him about the whole branding and everything.
Oh, you're talking about Blake?
Yeah, the gentleman who did your stuff. And I was just like, here and there, and I didn't pull the trigger at the point in time. I wasn't ready yet, so I didn't brand until the following year. So then I branded, and we were BNS pythons for the longest time. But like throughout those years, I kind of went one way and ventured off into other species, like the pine snakes, like some boas, and the Jason, the B in us, he did his own, he went his own way and did his own business, but we always did the snakes together. So we did that for a few years, but as his business took off, he kind of faded away a little bit and focused on that. And the snakes were always in my possession at my house. So I was always more hands-on with them, and I was, like I said, from a kid, I was messing around with them. So I always had a passion for them, you know what I mean? So I kept them in my place, and he still comes over and does stuff. But when we rebranded, we went from pythons to Reptilia. I didn't want to be the guy that had BNS pythons and then he's selling you a boa or a colubrid. It's like,
that makes
sense. So like you have a lot of exotics and you have a lot of reptiles. So I was like, Reptilia, that sounds pretty cool. There's a few of them out there. I like how it sounds, and we went with it.
Yeah, there was that was part of the reason we went with Herp, you know what I mean? Instead, because at first we was THC Exotics and THC Exotics, and we kind of like played off like the whole THC acronym and like the association with weed and stuff. But then like as I started thinking about it more, I was like, I want this to be bigger. I want to be able to, you know what I'm saying, present this in multiple spaces. And so I kind of wanted to like pare back on that a little bit. And so THC actually stood for the Herp Collectors. And so I was like, we should just be the Herp Collectors. And then I talked with Blake, and he was like, probably just drop the and just go with Herp Collectors. I was like, yeah, that does make a whole lot more sense. And so that's where we went with it. Yeah. So it's interesting you say that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's definitely fresh. I like it. I like it. Yeah, and then the colors was just something, I was just like, I don't, I don't want to be the same old every other color, standard, kind of like your orange, that sticks out, that's you. And so I'm like, that seafoam green, like that's it.
Yeah, I like how you said it. That took me. When you said it the other day, I was like, seafoam green, I like that.
Yeah,
won't ever forget that.
Dude, it's funny. Listen how I got all that color. So we're up in the mountains, and my brother-in-law, my wife's brother, he's like, I don't know, 6'2". He's like, I don't know, 275. And he's just like, he's a lumberjack, just dude, big dude. Like his hands are huge. He's a big guy, and he had on something about, like, I don't know how we got in the conversation, but he had a seafoam green shirt on, and I was just like, oh, that's a nice color. And he's like, seafoam green, it wears me good. And like, I just from there, like, it stuck in my mind, and I'm like, that's it. Like, I got to do that. And then the orange, I think, just makes it pop.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with the thumbnail because of the colors and like kind of the
Yeah,
contrast and how they
it was
pop. I was
great.
like,
I loved it. I loved it. I saw it, and I was like, whoa! I showed my wife, and I was like, yes.
yeah. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with that one. So
That was
definitely kudos, man. Kudos.
love it.
So let's go back to when you were young and you were collecting the snakes and stuff. So I imagine it was a bunch of animals out there. So what like really kind of like made you gravitate towards the reptile? What was it about the reptiles that attracted you to those more so than others? Or were you attracted to reptiles more than others?
I definitely was attracted to reptiles more than others. I mean, I think when I was really young, I remember having a cat and like dogs here and there, but I don't remember as strong of interactions as I remember like going out and physically catching like a bunch of garter snakes and putting them in a bucket and messing around with them. Like, I'm sure I played with the dogs and I remember bits and pieces, but it was always the reptile interactions, the frogs I saw, whatever I saw out. It was just always an adventure to try to find something new. Like, I'm always trying to trump that species. I always have a bucket
Gotcha.
list. You know what I mean? I still have a couple species in PA that I gotta get, but and like over the last couple of years,
Like Pokemon.
yeah, it's I know they're out there. I know they're out there. I just gotta catch them at the right time, and it's all about how much time you spend in the woods. I like to spend a lot of time in the woods and just be out there and just chilling with Mother Nature.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So out of the species you breed or out of the species you keep, what all species are you breeding?
We breed every year. We try to, like I said, we try to breed a new species, at least one, if not multiples. This year we will have plenty of ball pythons. I don't think we're going for quite as many clutches. We did 36 clutches of ball pythons last year. I think we're going to try to stay under 30. I think. I don't know as I look behind me. And then we got 5 different species of boas, but we're probably only breeding Dumerals this year. And then we got blood pythons. We got hopefully 2 litters of blood pythons. And then we should have 5 clutches of pine snakes, different like subspecies, southerns, northerns, northern Mexicans, blacks, leucistics. And then we should be doing Louisiana pine snakes. And then what else? Some bull snakes, some Mexican black kings. I think that's about it. I think that's all we're doing this year. So it's a healthy amount. It should be probably, if everything goes as planned and numbers, we should be hitting total clutches. We should be right around 50 or under 50 between everything.
So Chad touched on something here in this comment that I echo these sentiments, right? So he says, when I listen to guys like Chris, I know I'm not a true reptile guy, just a ball python guy here, but damn, Chris knows a lot about a lot of species. Yeah, and I concur like 100%. I
Doctor,
like it. I mean, I like reptiles. I'm learning more and more about reptiles and different species, but we're fairly new, right? We've been in it since 2020, so we're coming up on like 3 years. Like it'll be 3 years in like a month or so, right? So we haven't been in it that long. I am learning more and more and more, and over time, I will have accumulated more and more knowledge. But right now, like nowhere near like the level like where like you yourself is at, and like other folks who like deal with a lot of species and been doing it for decades. So yeah, certainly kudos to you, man. Like that's a lot, and that really kind of segues into my next question. So which of those species that you breed, which of those species is the hardest one to breed?
Thank you. I appreciate that compliment, by the way. But I mean,
Yes, sir.
just remember, like I've been going to reptile shows since in like the 90s. So like it definitely gains, as the longer you're here, the more things you see, and you absorb everything, and you gain that wisdom through time, a lot of it. Which one? Up until this year, the Tarahumara mountain boas were my most sought after thing to get to, breed for me. I've been trying for the last couple of years, and I don't know if it was I'm positive it was a combination of maturity, food intake, and just tweaking the temperatures a little bit. And each year, these are things you got to learn and continue to process and really dial in until you figure out the species to get to breed for the first time. You can read all the books and everything you want, but your animals are, you gotta really learn it and tweak your temps. That was a real good one. And this year, I really, since none of the other boas were going, none of my other species, I really want to focus a lot of time on my Dumerals because they've been throwing me for curveballs too. They can have a gestation for 4 to 9 months.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's like holy, your typical boa is only like 100 days, 98, 110, 112, give or take. Some are a little more or less, but you never know with them guys. So it's definitely a challenge. So, but I'm really going to hammer down and focus on them. And then after this year, if I can breed them, I think I'm going to move on and let somebody else enjoy them and maybe pick up another species and just start focusing on them, keep that start that
next challenge. Yeah.
I got to keep something up for that next 3 years out. I got, something new to look forward to. So.
Gotcha. 100%. So, what's your favorite one to breed? And then what's your favorite overall species, if it's not the same one?
Well, I haven't bred everything, so I don't have a favorite yet. I can't really justify that.
Gotcha.
Everything I have bred in my collection, I believe I think the pine snakes are my favorite to breed. They're just, I don't know, they're just a different type of animal. They're just pretty wild when they breed. They're quite violent. They literally like bite the female behind her head and like almost like it almost looks violent and carnage to a point, but it's just what they do. It's a subduing thing, and
that's pretty kinky.
It is. It's pretty damn crazy. I mean, it looks brutal sometimes. Like you hear its body slapping, and you're trying to figure out what's going on, but it's just them doing their thing. That's how they ride.
Hey, whatever floats your boat.
Yeah, they're pretty wild.
I'm not here to kink shame.
Yeah, right. How about it? My other biggest challenge is like with the king snakes. I'm paranoid with the king snakes that they're going to eat each other. You know what I mean? The female's just going to turn and be like, all right, cool. Just, munch on them. So I've never fed them snakes before. They've always been rat eaters. Uh-huh. So I'm curious if, any stillborns or any animals that have severe kinks that have to be humanely euthanized throughout the breeding season in ball pythons or boas or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like, I know you can feed them to your king snakes, but are you running the risk of then maybe that female being more adapted to like going after the male then during breeding? So
does that happen sometime with breeding king snakes?
I'm not sure how often it happens with king snakes. I know it happens in a lot of species. But I'm not sure exactly which king snakes. I'm sure some are more prevalent than others, but I'm thinking just strictly Mexican black kings.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's a good question.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know. I'm gonna have to look into that. What's that?
Somebody just put up a good question.
Which one? The dream species?
Master Johnny.
So do you have a dream species to work?
I pretty much do, and it's probably, I would say, like 95% of most of the people out there dream species. Bolins.
Okay.
Yeah, and the Bolins pythons, man. Yeah.
What about Bolins attracts you, and why is that your dream species?
I don't know, man. Just that the way they started out was just the deep maroons and like almost redishes, and just as they get to be adults, the deep rich blacks, and just how the iridescence, and their heads just like they just look like just little bulldog pit bulls. Their heads are just broad and just beefy. Kevin from Nerd does a lot of reels, or I think is it Tammy or his girlfriend or whatnot on her channel handles a lot of the snakes.
Okay.
And she always has a monster Bolins on there, and the thing is just incredible. It's just wild.
Gotcha. Is the husbandry or keeping of the Bolins, is that fairly challenging or is it
the Bolins?
The Bolins.
The Bolins. I think it can be challenging. They're still doing a lot of studies and research on it. There's ongoing research. There's a guy who's very involved with it. I think his name's Irie, or I think is it Irie? I'm not positive that's his name. I have to look it up, but he was on a podcast before, and he does a lot of research with them, and they can be challenging. Not very many people have gotten them to reproduce. Um,
Okay.
yeah, so they can be challenging. I'm curious to see what Canova does with them because he's
Okay.
got there.
Notably, who has gotten them to reproduce in the States?
I believe Kevin has from Nerd.
Kevin has? Okay.
I
Okay.
believe so. I'm not positive. And there's probably a bunch of just quiet basement breeders. Like when I say that, I mean people that just don't have social media, people that
Right.
just do it for the pure passion. They don't
Right.
even sell their animals. They probably give them back to zoos. And, I've talked to many guys like that. I'm trying to, right next to the Bolins is, I don't want to try to make this a two answer question, but the Jamaican boas. I
I haven't
love
heard of those.
this. Yeah, they're very highly endangered. Yeah, there's people in Arizona and California that breed them and have them, but you can't sell them across state lines. You have to be a state resident.
Oh wow, I hadn't even heard of those.
Yeah. They're virtually wiped out because of the introduction of mongoose back in the island in Jamaica way back in the day.
Okay.
Pretty much ate them all up.
So do they differ materially, phenotypically from like your standard boa?
Yeah, they're more of an arboreal species. They get long and slender. Um,
Okay.
mostly arboreal, but they go through the color change, octagon, how do you pronounce it? I always get tongue twisted.
Ontogenic, I think.
Yeah, like the green tree pythons where they go from like red and yellow to green and whatnot. They kind of do a change like that. I really like species that do changes like that. I really
Okay,
enjoy
yeah, that's what's up. That sounds pretty cool. I had never heard of that, so
yeah.
I've learned a lot already, and we like 30 minutes in. I already learned a bunch.
Those are two definite dream species. I like them a lot.
That's what's up. So, how is your overall season going right now? With the multiple species, how's everything going?
Pretty good, pretty good. I think I have I know I have one definitely gravid female ball python, which a lot of the girls that didn't go last year or first year girls that are just up to weight and being introduced to a male for the first time. I think I know one's definitely gravid, and then there's about maybe 6 to a dozen that are building real hard. Some are off food, some are destroying food. So it's going okay. I'm slacking a little bit with pairing. I don't have a real system. I mean, I have planned pairings and I have male and female cards. If you look behind me, you can see the green and the pinks. That's my male and females. Collection's still relatively small adult wise. I maybe have maybe
So,
100.
if it's a green and there's a pink on the same
They're
tub,
paired.
there's a pair right
Yeah,
now.
they're paired.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they're due to come out today, but like I said, I'm slacking, so they won't come out till tomorrow. Um, but I got maybe 160 in the breeding collection between this room and then the colubrids are all in another room.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And so, how do you go about like selecting breeding pairs? Like when you are like, do you think through like a lot of your projects? Like, you got like long term goals? Like what's your thought process? We could talk about the ball pythons. We could talk about other species. And we could talk about both.
Okay. Yeah. So with the colubrids, the bull snakes, there's a lot of like visual and recessive traits. I believe all traits in bull snakes are recessive, except for like say locality colors. Like there's a Christmas mountain bull, and there's certain bull snakes that have a real deep red color. They'll call them like flame bulls, or there's a couple other names, but it's like a lime bred trait basically, just to get that intense reds in them. And then, so I got a few of those that are visual and like multi-recessive. So they're fun to breed because you hatch out a clutch of like 15 whacked out different looking things. You'll have hypos, you'll have xanthics, you'll have albinos, you'll have white sides, you'll have patternless, you'll have all kinds of crazy things and multiple mixes of all those recessives in one animal.
Oh
So
wow.
that's really cool to see. And they that's neat. I enjoy breeding those and kind of holding back select ones to get that visual appearance of what I want in my breeding stock. You know what I mean? So like those, I hatched like, I don't know, maybe 25 to 30 bull snakes. I kept 2 back. So, I wanted to keep another one, but at that point in time, I was drowning in babies and I really had to think logically and make the sale instead of keeping it for my own greedy personal wants and not needs.
Got to keep them all.
Yeah, how about it? The pine snakes have always been a passion of mine to breed. I always loved pine snakes, even from back in the day when in the '90s when I like first got into like actually trying to breed snakes. Pine snakes, I don't know, they just always had a passion. That's on my bucket list. I really want to go to the Jersey pines and catch one in the wild. Like that is something I will accomplish before I die. You know.
Nice.
Yeah. So those are enjoyable to breed and they sell pretty well, you know. So I enjoy taking them and selling them and they're a good revenue. So I count on them for revenue and maybe an
Gotcha.
occasional pullback here and there. And I enjoy them. That's the biggest thing. I really enjoy breeding them and getting them out and showing
That's
them.
super important.
Yeah, you know. And just to show like the size of a snake, like some people think like the garter snake in their backyard is like the only snake you'll see in this country. And then you pull out this 8-foot northern pine snake that's just hissing or just huge, and they're like, "What? Like that lives in Jersey?" So yeah, it's pretty cool. Um, when I sit down and go into breeding, I do a lot of things. I think about what will sell because I do shows. So I want to think of what's visually stunning, but I also want to think of what is reasonably priced and will sell at a show as well as online. You know. Unfortunately this year, you know, there's so many snakes out there. The market has come down a little bit, but snakes are still selling. I mean,
True.
they're not selling as fast. That's the only thing, you know. They're still selling. I just had a guy come by and pick up 21 snakes the other day. So like, you know, you just gotta keep networking and just keep pushing it and, you know, get them out there and run specials. Just be creative.
21 hatchlings,
Yeah.
adult mixed
No,
with.
what did he pick up? He picked up I think like 18 or 19 hatchlings from the 22 season.
Okay.
He picked up a juvenile holeback of mine that was, I think she was like 1,200 grams. I didn't realize she was that big. He picked up what else did he pick up? Another adult female. I just kind of gave it to him because he spent a good chunk of change. He's a good customer. And you know, you got to build that relationship with these people. That's another real important thing. Not to
100%.
go off on another leg and stuff like that as to, you know, to get off what breeding plans, but customer service is important, man. You got to take care of your customers. At the end of the day, man, you want those repeat customers and you want to be available for them. You don't want to just make the sale and kind of brush your hands. You want to give them as much opportunity as you can to reach back out to you, to questions for care for that animal, you know, anything, future purchases, whatever it might be. That's all part of the sale, whether it's a $40 snake going to little Bobby at a show or if it's a $2,500 snake going to Mike at Herp Collectors. Like, you still got to be there, you know, for that customer, especially if it's their, you know, a first or second snake.
100%. Yeah, I'm a firm believer in that. Like, don't just try to make the sale and feel like you're done with them. You ain't got to like talk to them or answer their questions, like any of that stuff. I'm huge on customer service. I come from a customer service background, and so that's just something that's always important to me. And not only that, I've been on the other side as a customer, right, all the time, and so like that's something I value. Like I want someone to treat me, and so I try to treat people the way I would want to be treated, because people don't have to spend their money with you. Like at the end of the day, they don't, and so for them to spend their money with you, that's an honor, right? Because they can allocate their money anywhere. You know what I'm saying? And so like, why would you take advantage of that? Why would you not appreciate that? You know what I'm saying? And then even if they don't buy something, like I'll talk to people and build a relationship. You never know where that relationship will go. You never know how that'll help that person. And so if I can, like, I'll talk to you as much as I can. You know what I mean? Like it don't have to just be because you've bought something, right?
Yeah, and that's important, you know, especially at the shows. Have you vended yet?
I have not. I want to tag along with somebody this year for like 1 or 2 shows.
Cool.
But I have not vended yet. It'll probably be realistically, it'll probably be 2024 before we vend. Before we have the inventory to justify vending. And then B, like I said, I want to tag along a couple of times at a show.
Definitely do a ride along. Definitely do a couple ride alongs, and
yeah.
Get your feet
learn
wet.
the ropes.
Yeah, no, definitely. And yeah, absolutely. Definitely learn the ropes.
So speaking of shows, what shows have you done?
Around our area, we have a Oaks show, which is at the Greater Philadelphia Expo Center. It's I want to say it's out near Pottstown, I believe. in that area, I think. Oaks, PA. It's a huge event center. They have a bunch of different halls. They have an OK show. Um, and then there's one in Gettysburg, which is about 2 hours from me. Um, they are that's a good show. It's been getting bigger and bigger. We got two of them coming up in March, and then we have Hamburg, which is about an hour from us. I don't vend that one. That one is I don't know. It's gone a little south in the last couple of years. Like there's just been some stuff there. Like if I know I need to meet somebody or say pick up some heat panels that you can't buy online, there's always a guy there. I'll talk to one of my buddies that has a table, and I'll get a vendor badge. I'll jump in early, go get my heat panels, do whatever I gotta buy. If I gotta get a different colony of mice or a different colony of ASFs, I'll do all my shopping, and then when they open the doors to the public later, like I'm out of there because it's just it's a mess. I'm home by 10 a.m. I still have a whole day ahead of me.
So what exactly is a mess about it?
Well, they don't. She doesn't really like screen people that come in there. It's like a Hail Mary. Like there's been multiple times where I remember the one time I bought an animal from somebody and I quarantined it, and I from back in like 2014, man. I don't know what it was, but somebody was like, "Don't buy from this guy. He always has an issue with mites." Well, if you look at his table, when you go to shows, you look at people's tables. If somebody's got the bright lights and the acrylic displays, and they have just ball pythons on there, you're like 95% pretty clean that they're not going to have mites because they're just working with captive bred ball pythons. Like that's all they have. When you go up to that guy that's got like 3 tables with like 40 different species in deli cups, all different things scattered to his table, or like, wire netting across it, typically they're an importer, or they do breed ball pythons, but they import as well. And, that's what he was, one of those guys. And I was told to just stay away from his animals back in the day. And fast forward 8 years later, I see an animal I like, and I meet him at the Hamburg show, and I get it. And sure enough, I bring it home, quarantine it, and it had a couple mites on it. Whether or not it had mites on it when he brought it to the show, it had mites on it when it was on his table. So it came from something. If it didn't come from your ball python collection, it came from all your import crap that's on your table. I picked up 4 animals at that show, and the other 3 had nothing on them. They were still quarantined, but they had nothing on them. So like, come on, man. And it is what it is. Like I called him out on the sale and whatnot because it's just not right. You people spend a lot of money on these collections, and you think you spend a couple $1,000s on an animal like that, you shouldn't have to worry about shit like that. But it just goes to show you that's why you need to quarantine and sex every animal you get.
100%, 100%. Like I quarantine every single thing that comes in the house.
I get a steak from you, it's going in quarantine. No, no harm, no foul to you. It's just how it's.
I would want you to. I would want you to.
Gotta be.
Yeah, I mean, I get a snake from a big time, well known breeder.
It's got to
still
spend
going in a quarantine room.
It's got to spend some time. It's got to spend some time in quarantine, man. I don't care how bad you want to breed it. It's got to spend some time in quarantine. You're taking a huge risk, and I know a lot of people that don't care. They'll buy a snake and right away it's in pairing, or it's it's risky, man.
It's really Russian roulette, right?
Yeah.
Like you might get away with it for a long time, but it might be that one time you don't get away from it. You don't get away with it, and then boom, your whole collection got issues.
I'm guilty of it from back in the day of adding stuff before I knew better. But as I started to invest thousands of dollars in animals, it becomes very, irrelevant that that's what you need to do.
Yeah. I caught mites with an animal that I picked up from a show. Caught it like immediately, like when it was in quarantine, and so like that was just an early lesson, right?
Okay, yeah.
It's something you don't want to deal with.
Yeah, man. The Hamburg, like I won't even touch people's tables when I go. Like I stand a foot off the table, nothing. I come home, I take them clothes off outside on my back porch. Like I strip down naked, man. I come in the back door, and I can't deal with it. I have everything on Coco. Could you imagine the headache of changing 250 animals and the whole place? Nah, I don't even want to think about it, man. It just bugs me out.
Mm-mm. Yeah, like that'll be draining as hell.
Who got the time for that shit? No. Mm-mm.
Especially with everything else going on, like that's when it can be prevented.
Yeah, imagine having moms pregnant, fertile on eggs, and you got to treat them and change their bedding, and you're messing with breeding plans, and it's brutal. Somebody did a good video on that though about like breeding while treating. I think it was Gavin from Balls to You. I think he did a good video on like still continuing to breed your animals, but treating for something with mites, you know, like a breakout or something happened. It was pretty good. Definitely check it out.
Yeah. Well, what was he saying about it?
It was just like the process to go through with it, that you can do it and the stuff you can use, but a lot of the stuff that they were using, a lot of that, the spray, the
Frontline.
But yeah, the frontline spray, like you can't get it. You can't get your hands on it anymore.
Yeah, I heard they discontinued it, right?
But yeah, they discontinued it. Some people were saying they can get it from Europe and stuff like that. But
why did they discontinue it? Like, did it just go out of business, or was it something fundamentally wrong with it?
It was a product and it worked. I don't know. It's something. It was probably some stupid regulation, or probably something in it that like caused a local turtle to die, and unfortunately, that is horrible. But I mean, it could be something. Who knows? You know, I don't know. I mean, it killed him instantly, so I'm sure it couldn't be that great for the environment or stuff, but it never seemed to affect any of my animals when I used it in treating things. But I only used it if I had, like, I knew I had a breakout, you know, that one time. That's the only time I really ever used it.
So at the front line, was it directly applied to the snake, or do you apply it to, like, their environment, or both?
You can apply it to the bedding, but I would just apply it to a towel and let the snake run through it. And then I would put them on like paper towel, newspaper. And then I would also do in their tub, I'd also do the prevenamite, spray it on there and let it air dry for like 10-15 minutes. So anything that typically should crawl off of the animal will touch that prevenamite on the sides and die before it gets out of the bin or whatnot. And then wipe the snake down with that on paper towel. And then in a couple days, do the same thing again. Pull the bedding out. You don't really have to treat the tub again, because the PAM is good for like 30 days, I think. But in 2 weeks, I would do like a complete change out, because that's kind of like the cycle, or 21 days, something like that's the cycle. I forget the full cycle. So you want to make sure, you know, you're killing everything throughout every cycle. So
gotcha.
You can't be like, I don't think you can be, you don't want to treat every day. That's not going to be healthy for your animal, but you know, yeah.
And you said you got about 200 reptiles? 200 animals?
I think in the breeding colony, we're anywhere from like 160 to 200, give or take. Yeah.
And that's all species, or?
Yeah, that's all pythons, boas, blood pythons, that's everything.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yep. Gotcha. 75 right in those two racks. And then I got a VE over here with maybe like 15 or so. And then I have a bunch of hatchlings and holdbacks. I have like holdbacks from last year and this year. I have about 54 of them. And then I'm still at about 80 hatchlings, I think, from this year. But that's considerable, considering we hit about 300 hatchlings this year.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, it was bonkers, man.
That's a lot.
And I was working full time. It was nuts. It was
nuts.
A lot.
That's
like, I was, when I started pairing for 22, I was only working part-time. So I was like, yeah, everything is breeding. Like I'm getting everything, you know. I did the Tartar Marnes bred. I was like stoked on it. And then I'm like, wait a minute. Like, I do not have the room for all these hatchlings. What am I doing? And then like the incubators just started filling up, and I'm like, all right, here we go. So I had like portable tables in here with hatchlings. I still have like one portable table in here with hatchlings stacked on it. I don't know if you can see it, but it's like, we ran out of room real quick. So I got to adjust a few things. We're in an 11 by 11 room now, but we're going to move to the other side of the basement where the colubrids are eventually at some point, because we're going to have we'll probably have like 12 to 15 by like another 15. So we're going to have a lot more room, and that's pretty much going to have all the warmer species, so to speak, subtropical species. And then the colubrids will probably come into this room, because I actually have windows in this room, so I can brumate, chill everything out in this room, and don't have to pull them out of their cages and move them all around. Because now I got to pull them out, pack them in the corner of the basement. They got to brumate for 3 months. So
did you say so you're working full time now, or are you back to part time?
No, I'm back to part time now.
Part-time now. So what's your routine looking like now?
Dude, it's everywhere. Dude, my routine is messed up. The only thing consistent is
Imagine too with a small.
Dude, the only thing that's consistent is Wednesday and Thursday I work. That's the only thing consistent. I mean, I shouldn't say that. Like every Mondays I do, well, every Mondays I have a consistent rat flip over. I pull all my moms and pups. So I breed about 1,200 to 1,500 rodents as well.
Yeah, I want to touch on that as well.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, it's definitely it's a schedule, but it's not like anything ironed out. Like I don't feed Tuesdays and Sundays. I have multiple different species and they have different feeding regimens. Um, Females that are building, that are breeding, have a different food regimen than a female that's not going to go this year. Everything is a different food regimen in my collection. So basically, I have alarms in my phone. It's kind of like a my own husbandry pro alarm. It just alerts me when what species should be fed.
That makes
Do I?
sense.
Yeah, huh?
I said that makes sense.
Yeah. Do I always feed it on that day? No. Sometimes I'll skip a meal, so they'll get to push a meal out. It won't be compounding meals. So that's kind of how I go. And with the rats, I just go out and euthanize what I need. And fresh killed, I just come in. I could easily fresh kill 100 rodents and just come in here and just bang, 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 and just feed them all. But I'll do like adult bowls one day, and then a week I'll do, I'll have some on a certain schedule weekly. I'll have some on a 10-day schedule, and I'll just try to hit it the best I can and adjust to that species. If I know it's something building, I'll double up on it, or I'll feed it every 4 days or something like that.
You read my mind. That's what I was about to ask.
Yeah. Yes.
Feeding.
Yep. So I'll watch the female. If I know it's a younger female and I see her build and I see her really going through motion after she locked, and even if I ultrasound her, which I'm really slacking on, I'm like 2 months behind on ultrasounding. So the girls I did ultrasound that were at 13 are like ovulating now. They fall into about that 3-month time range from when they hit like 15 mil. So if I see them in the cycle and I see them at like 25 and they're just destroying food, I make note of that and I'll put them on like a 4-day, 2 small rats, and I drill them, because from the time they lay then through summer, I don't feed a lot. I feed rarely. I feed maybe, it's like when they bounce back, they'll get like 8-10 meals, like weekly, 5 days. They'll get it packed on, and then they go to like every 10 days, 2 weeks. Sometimes they'll go for 3 weeks. But I'll definitely feed them, but I don't feed them nearly as much as I feed them in the breeding season.
Gotcha.
Then come like December, January, females that I see that need more weight, even September, I'll start pounding them a little bit more then. And it's easy for me to do that because I have the rats right here. So I can adjust accordingly. And I think that's clutch with having a collection like this and different species. You can really adjust like that. And I think that really helps with breeding as well.
Gotcha.
Creating that food, that food drive is there, but fulfilling it, letting that female know, hey, food is here.
Okay, food is plentiful.
Food is bountiful.
I can continue going through all this stuff.
Yep, this male keeps visiting me. It's time. We're gonna make babies, and I solely agree on that. The longer days, the misting, yeah, all that. Storms come through. We had a storm the other night, and I paired earlier in the day, and we had a storm that night. That morning, I bet you there was 2 males that didn't lock out of like 15. It was just, it's wild. You just gotta give them what would be happening in their hometown.
You got any other tricks for getting your males to lock? Like I heard people like putting the sheds in or putting another male in a bag, stuff like that. You do any of that?
I don't. I haven't really gotten to that point where I was like so hard up that I needed to get like a male to lock. Like this season, I'm on the edge of trying some things because there's a male I really want to do some work, and he's I want to be polite, but he's being a little bia.
You got to play some Barry White, man. That does it every time.
Something, I don't know, but I want to try a different female too and see if maybe it's just the female I'm trying. I'm trying with 2 females. He is smaller. He is a new male, so it's nothing I haven't experienced before, but it's something we as breeders go through every damn season. You always have that 1 or 2 male that you really want to produce a clutch for you, and you're like, he just won't breed. And then all of a sudden it's like the light switch goes on, he breeds in, and he'll breed when he's ready. You're never going to force an animal, but you can do tricks. You can try to promote that. So I think with him, I might try to, but I haven't had to. I'm very big on backup breeders. If anybody has too many males, it's this guy. Like I seriously, man, I have way too many males. I must have 5 to 10 males that aren't breeding this year. They're just taking up space, but they're backup males.
in
They
case
were
you need.
here in case the little guys didn't want to breed or just couldn't breed all the females I had in the roster. And now every female's kind of got to visit through a male, so I have a good idea what's going on. I'd like to have extra females because there's always going to be something. No matter how hard you plan, no matter how hard you try to stay on track, there's always going to be something in your collection that you're like, oh man, I wish I had another female. This would have been a great pairing or something like that. So I
So
try
how
to.
do you kind of like get your backup meals? And what I mean by that is like right now I got like one real like true backup male, right? So I got my primary male in my DG clown project right now is a inchy leopard yellow belly desert ghost het clown, right? So that's my primary male, but he's the younger of the two. He's probably about 750, 800 grams now. He been doing pretty good. Like this is his first season. He been doing pretty good. But then I have a desert ghost het clown male that's a lot bigger, older, and he's also locking up, right? So in fact, at the beginning, when I was locking up girls in that project that I wanted to produce babies with, I've been using him a lot. And like so that male that I just said, the first one, the primary male, I'm kind of using him as a closer now that he's locking, right? And so like in my mind, that's kind of like my true backup male because it's like backing up that project. But for my other backup males, they're not necessarily males in that exact same project, and they can't help push that specific project forward as much as like you know what I'm saying, like the primary male, if that makes any kind of like
Yeah,
sense.
no, absolutely. Absolutely.
So are your males like your backup males, are they in that same project or are they like something totally different and you just decided to go a different way with it this year?
Most are closely related. I try to keep them closely related. Some may not be. Like I have one, two, I think I have three or four males that are not really related to any projects that have come like fourth total, all the way through yet. Like I have females that are growing up, but I have males that I think I want to use for that project until I create something new. I'm not going to let go of that male. But as far as males that are breeding, I do try to relate to the project. So for the Hypo Clown project, I have a double visual male, pastel Hypo Clown. And then I also have a visual clown, but he's multi-codom het hypo.
Okay.
So, this year I produced a lot of visual hypo, or not a lot. I'm sorry. I produced visual clowns, 100% het hypo because I had hets as well. I had a het clown, and so I get the visuals with the het hypo. So I'm building that side of it, but with the other male, I'm building the other side of it. I'm building the visual hypos, het clowns, and trying to work the project that way. So that's
Gotcha.
kind of where that backup comes into play. 1 year I'll breed double visual. Like last year, I bred into a couple females. So this year, I'm breeding the other one that's not visual hypo to some of the visual hypo. So mixing and matching. And I did the same thing with the Desert Ghost. I didn't really use my single gene Desert Ghost, but I used the double visual Desert Ghost hypo to make a bunch of double heads last year. But I'm not really using them a whole lot this year. I'm being very selective with them this year because I made a lot of my heads last year. So
Gotcha.
and that's peeling away at that. And then he's still going to be used for other projects, but he's a seasoned male, so I wrote him have a backup in that aspect of for him. The younger females is where I tend to have, like you said, that your younger male is the multi-gene male, and your backup, well, your primary male was your bigger, just the visual het. Um, for me, it's usually my smaller male. Well, no, that's about it. The smaller male is usually your primary male, but the backup male is always the bigger, less whatnot. But I
Right.
definitely try to keep it focused on the project.
Gotcha.
It can be tough though, like you said, if you don't have that male, you got to somehow try to tie it in and think like what else would go good with that project if you really want to use that female.
Yeah, that make perfect sense. Like
Yeah.
right now, I got a Cypress Spectre double hit hypo clown male who I would love for him to lock up because I really want to make some Cypress Spectre hypo clowns preferably, but I would even be happy for like a Cypress hypo clown.
Jeez,
But he just
right.
won't do anything, bro.
Yeah. And you're
He won't
positive
do anything.
male, you popped them, you got sperm
Yeah,
plugs.
yeah.
Hemipenes look like, are they like bright red and
They're
gorged? Or are they just
yeah.
real?
Say again.
Are they
Are
are
they
his hemipenes real weak, or are they like bright red and big and engorged?
bright red,
They
big?
are.
Like
They
they
look
look,
pretty
yeah,
good.
look pretty healthy. In my opinion, like
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, I know of all the tricks. I've heard all the tricks. I tend to leave my bins a little bit more soiled during the breeding season. I'll leave urates in there. I won't leave nasty poo or molded poo or anything, but I'll leave remnants of urates. I'll leave moist cocoa in there from urates and stuff like that, so that when I do pair, I leave shed skins in there. I'll spray the shed skins down. So I feel like that helps trigger some males to want to
Yeah, I've
breed.
heard people say breed them dirty, feed them dirty. Like I've tried a good bit with him, because one of my males, he just kind of stopped locking.
Yeah.
But then I put the female in his tub and he started locking. Like when I put the female in his tub, like for whatever reason, he stopped locking in the female tub. Like he was like just like a avid breeder. Like he would go right in there and lock up. So I was a little surprised when he stopped locking. But once I put the female in his tub, like he locked right up with him. And
Was it the
he just
same
like, you gotta come to my crib. Yeah.
Was it the same
But
female?
say again.
The same female.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Well,
He
with
was just tired. He was just tired
yeah.
of it.
Yeah, like he's locked with multiple females in his tub, but it was the same females that
Interesting.
he had locked with prior, but stopped locking with. Like he wasn't locking with nobody. But when I put him in his tub, be like, all right, it's on.
And
Like,
that's awesome. That's the thing, man. Like, always try things. Like, don't always use the conventional male's got to go with the female tub. That's just what everybody does, but that's not what you have to do. If it works the other way, do it. Like, it's all about your style, man. What works for you.
And so I was happy about him like continuing to lock up. And so I tried the same thing with that double head hypo combo male.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Like, he don't care. He don't care if he at her house, she at his house.
I mean, all the tricks, like put the more mature male on a bag with the female and the younger male in the same cage. Use a shed skin from another male. Pop another male. Wipe the sperm plugs on the back of the female you're trying to breed. Those are multiple things I've heard. Move the female around in the rack a little bit. Change the male's bedding. Take them for a car ride. Ship them to a friend. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. Like, you name it. You could. There's so many things that people say you could do.
Yeah, I really want him to produce a clutch for me, and hopefully he gets it together.
Hey, I do it, man. Make a video on it. Bust the myths, man. Do everything. Break it down. And ship that thing down to Keys for like a week or so. Ship it back up, and or try everything else before you ship it. But yeah, do it.
Yeah. You gotta do something, bro. Gotta do something. So speaking of the rodents and stuff, or going back to the rodents, I should say, what all species of rodents are you breeding?
Right now, I have the majority of rats. I have 2 colonies of ASFs. I have all my rats in one big shed, a 10 by 20 shed. They was working out of an 8 by 14. Then I upgraded. As soon as COVID hit, I spent way too much money on the business, but it was what I wanted to do. It was kind of like my kickstart. I pulled my 401k out. I bought a shed. I bought 4 ARS racks. Like, that was the first year of the business. So I dropped some serious coin because I had write off, and I wanted to be able to do this a lot more professional if I'm trying to make a professional income out of it. So I'm like, well, I'm diving in. If I'm going to be home, all these hours. Who's that? Oh. If I'm putting in all these hours, I want to make sure like it's going something to benefit me,
100%.
So like that's when we jumped into it. But the old shed, that the 8 by 14, I'm going to turn that into a mouse and ASF shed. So I want to try to cover all 3 because I like to have everything on hand. When you're hatching 200-300 animals, you're gone. When you're hatching 50 animals, you're going to have some that are only going to want mice their first couple of meals, some that might take ASFs, some that might take rats right off the gate. So like, I want to be.
Do you have a rodent of choice, like the preferred rodent to feed?
Rats. They're the easiest. Yeah, they're. I'll agree with everybody. They're not the healthiest thing for your animal, but they're the easiest produced and just easiest to manage. You know what I mean? They produce well under a lot of conditions. They're not finicky. It's what I have the best luck with. I think ASFs are better nutrition for them, but they're harder for me to keep, at least at this point. Maybe I haven't kept enough, but I haven't personally seen the pros and cons. But if you think about it, And ASF has a lot more bone structure. It's more protein, or a lot of rats have a lot more fat on them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
So
can definitely tell the difference between my snakes that eat pretty much exclusively ASFs and the
mhm,
ones that eat like exclusively Norwegians.
yeah, but that's why I don't feed heavy. Like I don't feed even Norwegians heavy. Like, well, what I mean, I only feed them heavy when I know they're breeding and cycling. I don't just feed them heavy and hope they're gonna cycle. Like I want to see signs. Show me that. Show me you're
That
doing
makes sense.
something. Because they can get obese. There are some obese snakes out there, and we don't know yet kind of like what the history is of obesity in reptiles. I mean, we know all their organs enlarge, and we know they go through some sort of stress, so to speak, as they digest and eat, but how much of it do we really know? Like, what's the long-term effect? Like,
Right.
have we fed a snake every 4 days for 10 years straight compared to a snake? Have we fed once a week for 10 years straight compared to one snake we fed 14 days for 10 years straight? You know what I mean? Like, we don't know long-term effects, and you know you can't decide on that. So I this year I went with a whole different regimen, and I got a couple ASF colonies, and I feel that my success rate was 95% better getting hatchlings to eat their first one or two meals with an ASF hopper as opposed to a rat fuzzy pup.
Gotcha.
Clearly, and that's how I'm gonna ride out the rest of my years if I can provide that. Whether it's ASFs or mice, they're gonna start on a hopper. Like an ASF or a mouse, it just has its eyes open that can bounce around a little bit. Not a rat fuzzy or pup that's doesn't have its eyes open. It's just like a big warm slug. It's like a pat of butter.
So with the Norwegians, what size colonies are you running and what's like the average litter size?
I have two ARS racks that run 32 bins each, and I run a 1.4 in each bin. So
Okay.
I run a maternity style. So the whole one side of my shed is all breeder bins. Well, the majority of that won't. The whole one side is definitely breeder bins, and then the other side has a breeder bin and a grow out bin. And then I have the two ARS racks that hold 32 each. So I have 64 tubs of 1.4. And then I have 5, 10, 15, 20. I have 27 tubs of 1.5 breeding colonies. And then I run 148 maternity tubs. So I roughly pulled 33 to 35 moms with babies a week. So every Sunday I'm going, I pull all the old weans, smalls, clean, get ready for the new moms. Monday, pull all the moms that have usually weans, but they're like big pups to weans. Pull about 33 of them, put them all in a big colony to grow out for the next week or sell off. I'll sell weans here and there. So I also sell all the rats on the side as well. All these rats don't just feed my collection. I
Okay.
sell I sell a good amount as another income too. Um, and then the cycle just continues. Every 3 weeks, I'm pulling 33 some moms with babies out. And then in between, just cleaning tubs and doing the cycles. Everything gets a dry erase chalker with the date chalk. So like every month, I try to rotate like in the 32 females, fresh females. I have to rotate to keep my females fresh every year. I have to rotate like 32 a month. So I try to breed females for a year and males, and then I retire them. I want to try to get that down to like 10 months because they produce a lot better for the first like 9 to 10 months. But I catch up. You're constantly playing catch up. As many rats as I produce, all of a sudden Joe down the street needs 100 more weans this week. And it's like, God damn it, those were all my holdbacks to grow out. So
God damn it, Joe.
yeah, yeah. So I have a big grow out tub that I try to pull as many as I can a week. I always send males out as feeders first, and I always have females left over. So I always have at least 100 females on hand. But I try to rotate them that way, and then I just use their date. So like if females go into rotation this month, they're 223 or 323. If it's a male putting breeding, he's 323, but he's a different color. Males are always blue or green. Females are pink, purple, whatever color marker I have.
Gotcha.
And yeah, I date their tubs when I clean them. And then as I pull them, so I say for 3 moms, my average litter, I would say is like 10 to a dozen.
Okay.
So every week I'm pulling 300 to 400 babies, give or take, pinkies, fuzzies, whatnot.
Nice.
And then they go into the maternity bin with the mom her date goes on the maternity bin and how many pinks were in that litter. So as I pull and I go through the cycle, I know that's what week I pulled them. And then, just keep going with it. Change the number on the tub with females and keep going.
You use the same bedding with all of them with it got dark.
Yeah, my timer went off in here. Going to bed. We're keeping them up. Oh, good. I knew that was gonna happen too. I saw my quarantine room shut off, and I'm like, oh, this light's gonna go out soon. Yeah, I use the snakes. I use all cocoa. I will use paper if I need to, but I pretty much strictly go all cocoa because I am a distributor for cocoa, which we can touch on later too. But with the rats, I use all pine. I get like it's like a 4 foot tall bag by like 2 foot by a foot square. It's a huge bag. It's like, it says 3.25 cubed, but it's got to be bigger than that. It's huge. So I don't know, whatever. I use it. I get like a dozen at a time, and that lasts me like 2 to 3 weeks. I get a pallet of Missouri every 5 to 6 weeks. So I sell to Missouri too. So anybody in like the PA, tri-state area,
I got the hookup.
I got the Missouri,
I got it.
I got the pine shavings. I got the cocoa bedding. I got your snake. I got your rats. What do you need?
I'll let your boy. So what's some of the big challenges that you face with breeding your rodents?
Oh man, the time. Rodents are a bitch. They I seriously, man, there's been times where I just want to go out there and burn the whole shit down. You know, as bad as that sounds, dude, there's mornings I wake up and just be like, just like Eminem and Dre stood next to a burned down house, just chilling. Yeah, we found out. That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't even call it if I just let it burn. Escapees, man. I had a racket out and it got loose like outside of the shed. So in the summertime, I like to open the doors and let the fans run the shed, just run airflow. You don't need air conditioning unless the humidity is like 90. Then I have a mini split in the rat shed. So they're large. They have air conditioning. They have heat. Like they're ready to go.
So this one got out of the ARS rack?
No, this got out of one of my homemade racks. So I have 3 ARS racks in that shed, and I have a bunch of homemade racks that I built from way back in the day with mason tubs. Somehow they got out, and then, no, not somehow. I know exactly how they got out. I was pulling a bunch of babies one week, and I stepped off my step ladder and kicked the bin, and like 50 weans went running. And I didn't have my walls put up yet. I had just insulation. So some got stuck in the insulation. Some made it out of the shed. I got most of them. I hunted some down. Fast forward, I still didn't put my my drywall up, so nothing was really active in there. And then, fast forward 4 months, and I started like catching a couple in traps, and I'm like, oh great, what's going on here? And then they started chewing water lines, and man, I'll tell you what, dude, I went through about 150 foot of water tubing in like 3 weeks. I was going crazy, Mike.
Damn.
I was coming home from work and like just stressing going into my rat shed because of every night I'd shut all my valves off so they wouldn't drain the reservoirs, 5-gallon buckets. I'd shut all the reservoirs off. They'd chew the lines up. I'd come home, replace all the lines, turn all the rats' water off. So now my rats are suffering because they're without water for like 12 hours overnight while this bastard's running around chewing my water lines. So I got drywall up. Well, then he chewed his way out of the drywall. Dodging traps, dude. I had glue traps. I had snap traps. I had poison out. Rats are smart, man. They are intelligent, especially when they know you're hunting them. Forget it. They'll get you. So finally, I was like, you know what? I can't do this. Well, my brother was up hunting. We came in from hunting, and I'm like, man, I got to get this rat. So we snuck in there early morning, and sure enough, there was one out in the back of the rack, and I smoked him with the pellet gun. And I'm like, all right, sweet. I got him. Then 2 days, like nothing. I'm like, all right, cool, great. 3rd day, chewed water lines. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Like, I'm done. That's when I was burning it down. And so finally, I'm like, I set my alarm in my phone. Every hour I got up and I went outside and I went out with my pellet gun and a flashlight and I flicked the light. I left the hole open he was coming out of and I would turn on the light and I spotted him on a rack and I packed the hole, got him with the pellet gun and ended it. So it's a lot less stressful when you don't have rats loose. But it's super time consuming. I put in about, I'd say easy 12 to 15 hours a week.
12
So
to 15. Wow.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's a lot.
think 3 to 4 days a week, if not more, I'm in there doing something, whether it's
And are
filling.
you the only one working with the rodents?
Yeah, I'm the only one that does a rodent. So I got a young bull that's been helping me at shows and coming over every now and again. He's got a couple snakes, but he's still in high school. He's going to college, but I'm looking for somebody young to come over and work with the rats, earn his keep, clean some dirty tubs. So we're always putting it out there until my boys are old enough. I gotta look for that labor somewhere.
That's my worst fear is like knocking over the rodent container or
Yeah.
dropping it or just doing something crazy. Like just because I do crazy shit sometimes. Like just crazy shit just happens sometimes. And that's like my worst fear is knocking over.
Well, yeah, man.
All of them just running everywhere. I'm like, man, that would be terrible.
Yeah, it happens, man. That was the best of us. So it can be challenging, but once you get a pretty good routine down, and you know what, I did my first year. I do all my numbers. I keep track of everything: bedding, food, sales, everything, and I keep track of everything. And to watch it grow every year is very encouraging. The rats tripled from last year to this year, like they really did. Cocaine rat, heck yeah. They're like cocaine bear. Dude, it was crazy. That rat was nuts, man. It jumped like 4 foot in the air. It was nuts. It was crazy.
Yeah,
So it can be challenging, but you know what? I know I have to do it and I can't give it up. It gives me the freedom to only have to work 2 days a week.
Yeah. And being self-sufficient, man, it's a lot to say about that.
Yeah, and I can't produce enough rats, man. I'd put another rack up. Like I have racks on wheels now in my walkway just to produce more volume, just because I can't keep up. It's crazy. I could fill another 10 by 20 shed and probably just keep up.
So as far as getting like maximum production out of your rodents, do you have any tips for any of the species you breed?
The rodents?
Yeah.
As far as the rodents, just basically good air circulation, man. Good air circulation and good food. Good food and water. Make sure they always have water. Like if you can run a straight water line into it, that's the best. Like that's what we're gonna do. We're doing some renovations to the house, some additions and stuff, and we're gonna be redoing a deck. So I'm gonna run a hard water line right out to my rat shed, and I'm gonna run it up to a manifold inside the shed, and then just pipe it to every reservoir, so I can just go in and hit manifold 1 fills bucket 1. And just turn them on and they all fill independently. It's not now I have to run out there with a hose to fill everything. So if it's freezing, the hose is frozen. So I have a special hose I have to hook up and run in. So it can be done, but to just have water in there on premises, that's my biggest thing, man. Airflow, good food, and water. That's your biggest thing. I mean, they'll produce they're rats. They'll produce on the shittiest bedding, but clean bedding is important as well, but they're rats. Like always remember that. they're at the bottom of the food chain.
Have you ever had one escape ARS rack?
Nah, never. Nah, them things are sweet. Everything about ARS is butter. That's what I use for the snake racks. I use for the rat racks. But the only complaint I have with them is that they're valves. So I use a square 1/2-inch screen on my homemade racks, and the nozzles have a special clip that clips onto the 1/2-inch perfect. It clips in the back and it snaps in the front. They can't pull it down or push it up. Sometimes they can pull it down, but 9 out of 10 times they can't knock it up and make the nozzle hit something and flood their tub. The ARS racks, they run on like a diamond pattern, almost like a like stainless steel, like the diamond mesh type. That's how the pattern runs in their screening, and they don't have any kind of tool that locks the valve in. It just pokes through. They need to make some sort of clip that locks that valve in, because I've had times where they push that valve up and it gets caught in a different hook and just floods the tubs. And those ARS tubs are only, what are they? They might be not even a 28 quart. They might be like a F10 or something. So they're not big. They're big, but they're not big. They might be like size of 50. Actually, they're exact same size of 5540, I think. I think they're the same size of 5540 hybrid. So they're long, not super narrow, but a 5-gallon bucket, forget it. That's overflowing. At least the mason tubs will catch a 5-gallon bucket. Gotcha. And that's the other horror of working with them. Right now I have 2 5-gallon buckets on the ARS racks doing the gravity fed water. So if one floods, that's 10 gallons of water that are full. But every 3 days I got to fill that 10 gallons. One of them air extracts blows through 10 gallons of water every like 2 to 3 days. If it's hot, I mean, a cotter pin. I went out and bought a couple cotter pins, but you think if you spend $3,500 on a rat rack.
What's a cotter pin?
That's to hook onto the bottom of the valve so that the rats can't push it out.
Oh, okay.
So I bought a couple in case I have some rats that are pushing them out. I can put the cotter pin on there, but you'd think I love ARS rack. I'm not knocking them, but you think if they're selling a $3,700 rack, that they would provide some sort of instrument that would hold their bibs in. Just if anybody's listening that knows ARS,
you hear that ARS
word out there, you know.
The people have spoken.
Yeah, and then I'm like, well, I'd like to go away for a week. Like, I'm coming down to Daytona, bro. We're bringing the whole family down. We're driving down from Daytona in August. So, like, I'm super excited. You're going, right?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I'm so excited to hang out with everybody. We're bringing the whole family down. We're staying at the Hilton right on the beach, right where the
y'all getting there
is. What's up?
When will y'all be getting to Daytona?
I don't know if we're coming in Wednesday or Thursday. We're coming in. Like,
we'll be there Thursday.
Thursday, you're going to be there? Okay,
yeah.
Cool. Yeah, no, I definitely want to link up, hang out, chill. I mean, we got the kids, so we're going to be kind of limited to what we can do, but the wifey gets it. She knows how into it I am and how much I've been wanting to go to some of the bigger shows. So I think we'll be able to work with it and find something that works out good. And kids are tolerable. The young one likes the reptiles and stuff, but he can't come to the auction. I know that. we're at partying Friday night at that's something in a Tinley. So yeah, I'm stoked for Daytona. That should be a good trip. We're just doing a family vacation out of it. So we're staying right there on the beach. You know, we'll be there for a week, and then we're doing Tinley too in October.
Same.
It's gonna be fun. Awesome, nice. Yeah, we're gonna drive out there too. It's easier for us to drive, believe it or not, with the kids and everything. You know.
Yeah, you're right in that area.
Yeah, and we're gonna drive out and we're gonna do Tinley, and then I don't know if we're gonna like stay all day Sunday. We might leave a little early and do some wineries up one of the lakes. I'm not sure exactly where we're staying. We're probably gonna get like a bed and breakfast and stay like a half hour outside of town or whatnot. But then we want to do the Reptarium. So anybody that's going to Tinley, if y'all want to get together, we get like 10 people together. I know Big Mike's coming over from London, from UK. So I know he was talking about wanting to do the terrarium, but I don't know how quick he wants to bounce after Tinley. So I don't know if he's trying to leave like Sunday to get back to work Monday. But like if we can get a group of 10 people to do the terrarium Monday, we can do a private tour with Brian. It's like, I forget how much it was. It's reasonable. I think it's like $50 a person.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
No, not bad at all. And you know what? It is cool. I met Brian in White Plains like in 2014. I have a picture of him, me and him on the wall at the one show I seen him at in upstate New York. So like I haven't seen him since then. And like, come on, face it, everybody. Everybody watched him. That's how a lot of us came into this and watched his videos from the early snake bites and everything, So, it would be cool to go to the Reptarium and see all the, the changes and everything and just take a group of people and just hang out. I don't know how long it is, but I'm sure, we went with a good group of people or whatnot. So anybody that's going to be at Tinley, let's do it.
Yeah, that'll be real dope. But you were saying something about wanting to get away to go to Daytona, and it was rodent related, and I cut you off. But what were you saying about that piece?
Oh, as of right now, like just running like the 10 gallons of water, those rodents, especially in August, they're going to burn through that in 2 days. So like if I'm going for a week, that's my biggest concern. You know what? The snakes, they're fine. August, I rarely have anything laying. If anything, we have stuff hatching, and my buddy Jason the Bee, he'll come over and he'll see what's hatching. He'll cut eggs. He'll do whatever needs to be done. If it needs to be done, it's it's a necessity. But the rats, they're the thing that keep me up at night. Or do they have food? Or they have water? Did somebody pump a nozzle? So like, I worry about them more when I'm gone than I do the reptiles. So like you always think like, do you want to put like a 56 quart or 56 gallon tub, like a huge Sterlite tub up there? Oh man, if they flood that, then forget it. Like, you know what I mean? You're tidal waving. So now I'm like, well, I'm going to add another bucket to it. And I don't want to add another bucket, but it's like, where's that fine line of like, all right, how much water, if there's an issue, do you want spilling out and flooding stuff? Because, you always have that in the back of your mind with the rodents. It's brutal.
Yeah. Yeah. The mammals take way more work, whether they got 4 legs or 2 legs?
Yeah. Oh, so much, man. So thankfully, I have my cousin. He'll come over, and he'll do the waters and maybe feed some if they have to. Because some of the grow out tubs, if I pack them in there, if I have like 30 weans or 30 smalls, that they eat and they go through food quick, man. So yeah, but it works. It gets it done, you know.
And you're a distributor for the chipper and for Pro Coco?
Well, chipper is the label.
Uh-huh.
Chipper is the cocoa product. It's the chipper. It's all under the same roof, but the Cocoa to Go just has its own name.
Coco to Go. That's right.
Oh, it's ready to go. You open that bag, bang, you throw in your tub. It's triple wash. There's no fiber. There's no dirt. There's no dust. It's awesome. And even the block, I use a lot of the block because I only mix up as I go. Like, you know, we go back to routines. Like, it's not like every 3 months I shake down that whole rack. That's not how I work. Especially if females are breeding, I won't change a female until she lays. You know, if I know she's not laying, if she's reabsorbed, if she's done anything and her cage is nasty, then I'll change it. I spot clean though. I do all that, but I won't change the whole complete tub out until I know, you know, they're done or going. So I use a lot of the block, and it's nice. It breaks up by hand. It's big chunk, but the block does have fiber and a little bit of dirt in it. But you don't need any water to break it up. You break it up by hand, you apply it, and then you add your water to it. So like I'll dump like half their water bowl on it or spray it down real good or whatnot a couple times.
Do you use the larger size or the smaller size? Or
big
both?
chunk.
The big,
Last time I ordered my stuff, he only had the big chunk. It's the red label, I guess. It's black with like the red plaid through it. So yeah, that's the one I primarily use. That's all I have right now. I'm getting a pallet of the Cocoa to Go next week. So I'm gonna have that for our shows in March. I'll take some of that to the shows. So I got 2 tables at the Gettysburg show and 2 tables at the Oaks show.
Gotcha.
So, yeah,
we've been using the chipper for almost probably about like 9 months now, something like that. Yeah, we've been using it like exclusively, and I like it. Yeah, we got the larger size chunks, and we got the smaller size chunks. Okay. I use the larger ones. I like the larger ones for the larger tubs, and I like the smaller ones for the smaller tubs.
All right, you get it in the block, right? The 10-pound block. You don't get the Cocoa to Go.
I haven't used it yet. I might pick up some soon. You know Byron from Sweet Serpents Tampa.
No, is that who's your distributor? Is that who's closest to you?
Yeah, he's got some, and so like I might link up with him and grab some. I grabbed some from last time. The first time I grabbed some from Byron, and then I got I re-upped at the show last year, and I got it like directly from Chris.
Yeah, Chris.
And then I'm probably link up with Byron again, or give it Chris, or a little bit of both.
Byron's closer to you, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you go to the show, Chris will get it to you, and I mean. I think it's the same price. I don't think you can get any cheaper if you go to Chris. I think he retails it for the same.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No, and I'm excited to get out finally meet him too at Daytona.
Okay. Yeah.
Because when I was down and hung out with you in September, I didn't get a chance to go that far down. Gotcha. I wanted to go down and hit up Kike. I wanted to go see Chris. I wanted to go see all that stuff, but I just couldn't do it. So I was glad I got to hang out with Adam and Keys though. That was cool.
Yeah, he was there. That's who I picked it from in Daytona. Obviously, I just picked up like everything they had left. I was like,
I'll take it. Had it on stupid sale too.
Say again.
He probably had it on stupid sale too.
Oh yeah.
The blocks for like 15 a piece, 10.
I don't even think that. I think I got it for $10 a block.
That's fucking smoking. I can't even get $10, and I'm a distributor, dude. Till they put freight on it and get it up here, man. It's ridiculous. I really do not make anything on the Cocoa. It's just kind of like I can provide bedding for my collection pretty much free. That's what it comes down to. So, you know, it's a win.
That's worth it, in my opinion.
Absolutely. But to give this Cocoa to people and listen to them talk about it, that's enjoyable. I like the people at Cocoa to Go. They really rave about that.
Yeah. Yeah, they had like a kiddie pool full of it.
Did he?
And it had been sitting out like the whole weekend, and like it was still like moist. It still looked good.
It has a good ratio to it. The Cocoa to Go, yeah. I had out shoe boxes to compare it at the shows. I'll put out a shoe box of the Cocoa to Go, and then the block broken up. And you know, it definitely gets more attention. People want to touch stuff, man. You know, I can't tell you how many people stuck their hands in it and just fondled the Cocoa, man. You know, they look at you kind of weird. You know, like
I stuck my hand in the kiddie pool. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
You got to.
Going back to the shows, man, like that was one thing I wanted to also touch on. That slipped my mind, like not to jump subjects, but when you go to shows, even if somebody isn't buying an animal from your table, you talk to them, you make eye contact with them, you ask them, like if they have an animal, if they were to purchase something, ask them what they got. Look, ask to see it. Show interest in them. Therefore, they will show interest in you, and that really helps a lot at your table when you're vending shows. Just be genuine and talk to people. Do that face to face.
Yeah.
That's what I really wanted to touch on. That when we were talking about the whole show thing. If you're going to mentor with somebody.
Yeah, I definitely got to get to more shows this year too. I've been slacking, to be honest, on shows, and which is actually kind of embarrassing considering like how many shows are in Florida. Yeah. I haven't been to a show since Tinley
Oh, geez.
in October. Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah.
There's one every weekend down in Florida. You guys are nuts.
Damn near, and not that far away. And so I just gotta change kind of like my processes. That way I can free up some time on the weekend to make it to a show. At least one day. Just get there for the Saturday, hang out, you know what I'm saying, talk to people.
Yeah.
Get some FaceTime in, see some dope animals, stuff like that.
Yep. Jeremy loves the Coco to go.
Jeremy
Warfel.
Yeah, I think he did a video from about it. That's what put me on it.
Yep, he compared them all.
Yeah.
It's a shame you won't be up this way during May, will you?
No, I don't know when the next time I'll be up that way.
Nice. May 6th, we're having a bash here at my place. So anybody in the tri-state area, Eastern PA, let me know. DM me. We're having like a breeders get together. It's gonna be a lot of local people like Richie's,
that'll be dope.
Richie's coming.
That's gonna be dope. Real good.
Daddy. Phil, Finger Snakes, Jeremy, DTMG, Infinite Possible Pythons. We're gonna have a good group of people up here. It's gonna be an all day, just chill, get together, bonfire, kids, family, everything.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Lots
of food, and we're gonna talk breeding, man.
Nice.
And then as his in July, I think he's.
Y'all gonna go live?
I'm gonna try to get everybody to go live on IG. Like I want to crash IG, man. I want to see if we can get like 40, 50 people live on IG and just kind of like piggyback throughout the whole place at like 4 in the afternoon or something.
Yeah, you definitely got to do that, bro.
It's gonna be cool. I'm super stoked for that, man.
Yeah,
we're gonna throw horseshoes. We're gonna have everything, cornhole, all kinds of games, man. Just all outside chilling.
Yeah, that'll be real fun.
The weather's gotta be good. And then Jeremy does the same thing. July 1st, he's having a summer cookout. Same thing. Everybody get together, hang out at Jeremy's house. He's out by Lancaster.
How far is that from you?
It's a good 2 hours. He's a good 2 hour hike.
That's not bad.
No, we'll go out early to spend the whole freaking day out there. And the kids usually crap out about 8 o'clock, and that's cool.
That's what we call a hop, skip, and a jump down here.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know. Florida's a long state, man.
Oh yeah.
When we were down there, and we drove from Panama to Gainesville to meet you, and
that's the worst. That's the worst drive to that drive on I-10 from West Florida to get over here.
I'd rather drive that than 4 though, man, through Orlando.
Oh really?
Screw 4, man. 4 is horrible. That is ridiculous. We're trying to get Adam from Proper Royals to fly up on the Jeremy's place in July.
Okay.
Fun. Yeah. Adam, I think he's trying to make a vacation to have it, like bring his family up. So that'd be pretty cool. We're gonna get a place.
Like driving like the I-10 route, like I just feel like we own it forever.
Yeah,
it just takes so long to get off. It's like, man, finally we somewhere different. I haven't driven it in a while. I think last time we drove it, either I was going to Mississippi or Louisiana. I can't remember which one, but both times it was just a long ass drive.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, bro. So you got it. Before we get out of here, I got a few wrap up questions for you.
Okay, yeah, man.
All right, man. So if you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be and why?
Oh, geez, where would it be? I don't know. I've always wondered what Bali would be like.
Bali?
Yeah, just being there. I have an old distant Italian relative that lives there. And I just always wonder what that would be like. It's just with the waters, just the temperatures, just the culture. And I don't know. I'm just be curious. I would definitely want to visit it. I think that would be interesting. I don't know if I'd want to live there permanently though. That's a tough one, man.
That's a hard one.
Yeah. I don't know, Texas maybe. End up in Texas.
Texas. Yeah.
Yeah, end up in there, everything's legal, and you got the ocean and the Gulf. I really like the Gulf waters too. So if I said say stateside, I'd say Texas. Somewhere in the middle there.
Gotcha.
Somewhere in the middle on the Gulf Coast.
Yeah. And so next one. So if you had $10 million to invest, how would you invest it?
Oh geez, how would I invest it, man? At the point in life I'm in, I would probably put half of it in like mutual and IRA funds of some sort, probably like a Roth fund, and then something that would give me dividends yearly, not just build wealth. And then I think the other half I would definitely buy some real estate. I'd buy some more rental incomes. We have one right now, and then just purchase another piece of property that's going to be kind of a rental / personal use, fishing, vacation property type deal. So I would definitely spend some on some property that I can manage myself. I don't want to get too much that I have to pay somebody to manage it, because I could do that myself, I feel. And then I would definitely invest probably a cool mill on snakes, and maybe even more, a little bit more than a mill on snakes at facility. I mean, yeah, I can only imagine what Canova spent on his facility. I don't even know what it is, but to be quite honest,
I think it was like 750 or something like that. Don't quote me though.
750K.
Yeah,
that's it. Oh wow, that's not too bad then.
I think. Don't quote me. There was an episode about it. It might have been on Snakes and the Fat Man Leveling Up series. He might have talked about it on there, or it was on a different podcast. But for some reason, 750K is the number that's standing out of my head that I'm remembering.
That's not too bad. And I would definitely do something, but I would not go that large. I don't think I want to be quite that big. I think my cap for what I want to handle, because I really don't want to have to pay somebody, because I'm very meticulous at how I do things. I like to do it my way, and somebody might get the job done, but it's not how I did it. Occasionally, you gotta remember that though, that everybody's a little different, and the job can get done different ways. You gotta be able to do that when you have employees. But I think I'd like to cap it at what I can handle personally between me and my wife. And with the boys getting older, we could possibly do 60, 75 clutches. So
gotcha.
That's everything. That's boas. That's, bloods, pituophis, everything.
A follow-up question on that, like, it was something I meant to ask earlier, but we can talk about it right now real quick. So do you have, that's your cap? Is that somewhere you're shooting towards getting to that number of clutches and litters?
Yeah, I think so. I think if I were to like maximize and move out to the other room, I think we could get close to that number, because I could probably fit another 1 or 2 ARS racks in there. But you got to remember, with every adult rack you add in, you're adding, a baby rack. So at least a baby rack, so you got to keep that in mind. So I think that's the end result. But I have other dreams and ambitions too. I wouldn't mind getting another, like, a detached car garage and doing it, a little whatchamacallit in there, a whole facility in there.
Gotcha.
Because we got the property to do it. It's just a matter of permits and stuff like that. My neighbor has a little house that's like not falling apart, but like it's gonna sell cheap. It's right next to me. It's on great property. Like, I might be saving up for a rainy day that, Lord, God bless him, but we all don't live forever. This is inevitable. That property comes up for sale. It'd be amazing to have your snake facility right next door to your property, and your breeding facility right there, so it's always things that are going through my mind, so
it makes perfect sense.
Time will tell, but I definitely need to expand.
And this is one of my favorite questions. So if you could have dinner with 3 people, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Oh man,
you knew it was coming.
Dude, this one's been bugging me out for like months, man. The guarantees, Marilyn Monroe. That's number one. She just, I don't know, something about her, man. I don't know a whole lot about her, but I would like to learn more about her. But it's just, I don't know, just just fine. She just seemed classy. She was just natural and just looked like a good time. Just looked like a fun person. Um, just because of all that, just her spirit. Like I think her spirit was just genuine. Just it just seems like from the pictures and everything. So
Gotcha.
her, man, it's tough. I don't know. I think Michael Jackson would be interesting just to see what went on, in that man's head for, an hour or two or however long dinner would take or whatever dinner would consist of with him. Who knows,
What's
Who
one
knows,
question you would ask him?
who knows what it could be? Um, what was his favorite animal? I mean, I kind of know the answer, I think, but maybe it's not what holds true, So it's because I'm an animal guy, so maybe we could bond on that. Maybe that's how our 2-hour conversation would just be about the weird animals that he bought with all his stupid rich money. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's probably about it. And then 3, who else? As sadistic as it sounds, Hitler. I think that's another guy that, man, like what goes on in somebody's head to think to do stuff and do things like that to human beings. So, in one,
Somebody else said something similar. It
yeah,
might have even been Hitler.
in one mind, it's like I don't remember hearing it, but like one mind, it's like what would possess you to do that? What do you think of it? Were you that like blazed out of your head on drugs and stuff? I know what rumors have been and stuff like that, but like when you roll through, you ever been to the Holocaust Museum in DC?
I have not.
Dude, you got to make a point to go to DC and visit some of those museums and stuff like that. My brother lives in DC for a while, and I visited him quite often, and we did a bunch of that stuff. And that Holocaust Museum, man, it hits different. It hits different, and you go in there, man. It definitely makes you just like your eyes. You come out, you're like, wow. So I think it'd be scary to have dinner with him, but I think it would be something very very interesting.
Gotcha.
Definitely listen. So, yeah, just to see what kind of will go on with a mind of somebody to think that that's okay.
Right. First question, like, dude, what the fuck?
Like, come on, bro. Like, what? My feelings hurt when I kill a fuzzy rat.
Yeah, that's wild, bro. All right, so one question you wish I would have asked you, and how would you have answered it?
Wish that you would have asked me.
Yeah.
Ah. I thought about this one a little bit too. I wasn't sure if you'd get it, but then I thought maybe you'd get it. What new species am I breeding this year?
What new species are you breeding this year?
Well, all right. So I would say it's kind of like a sub. So I bred pine snakes before, northern, southerns. But this year is going to be the first for northern Mexicans and Louisiana pines. And Louisiana pines are on the same kind of like CITES list that like the Jamaican bubbles are on. So like I can't ship you Louisiana pines or black pines. I can only sell them in the state of Pennsylvania. I can send them and ship them to you, but we have to fill out the proper paperwork and go through the fishing game. But who knows with you being in funky Florida?
I know, right? So just say in theory, could I drive up there, buy it from you, and drive back, or will we be breaking the law?
I'm not gonna face federal charges for it.
Okay, so it is against the law. That's what I was getting at.
Yep. Yeah. They were the rumor had it at one of the Hamburg shows, they were pinching down on some dudes because technically if you come up to me at a show and want to purchase a black pine snake or a Louisiana pine snake, I'm supposed to ask you for ID. But as a seller, I don't feel that's my responsibility. I feel that the responsibility should be on the purchaser knowing that they're out of state buying the animal. Like that's almost like entrapment. Like, I don't know. I just feel like I shouldn't have to babysit other people that I don't know about the species. I feel like I should educate everybody, but I don't feel like it should fall back on the seller. But I don't know what the exact like rules are on them. I don't sell them out of state. I'm going to look into it this year since I do have 2 species that are going to be available. So that's going to be probably 8 to 16 babies. That's for a specific animal. It's a lot to move within the state if you don't know people that want them.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, that's good to know. So is there anything else you want the listeners to know? Anything you want to plug?
I mean, check me out on Morph Market. I still have some animals up available. I only have like one pine snake left. I have some bloods left. I'm going to be working out a deal real soon on some of the sponsorship channels. I sponsor a few channels. So we're going to change some stuff around and offer some specials to try to move out some of these 22 animals. So, check us out on Morph Market. Inquire if you're looking for something in 23 that, you can't find anywhere else, or that you think we might be working with just from pictures on IG or whatnot. Check us out on there. But yeah, other than that, just looking forward to the future, this season, and where it's going to take us, seeing what everybody produce. I want to see what that Clown Hypo project, where you're taking that. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, man, that's one of my favorite projects. You probably heard me say it like before.
I know we got to bump heads on that one day. Seriously,
oh, yeah, for sure.
Get in deep
Compare
with it.
notes and see where you're going, because we can definitely we can
I know
swap it out.
we can help each other and advance.
Yes, sir, man. I love that project. Love that project.
And that's what it's all about. You know what? Like, I do need to make a quota because this is going to be providing my livelihood. But at the end of the day, to help other people out and make trades and, just do the right thing, and falling back on the customer service, man. Take care of the people that buy animals from you, because you're not always going to be right on the sexes you sell to animals. With all the genes at play, we're only theoretically IDing animals. You're going to make mistakes. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Just, it's out there. There's plenty of help out there. Don't, try to run as straight as you can, and take care of people if you do make mistakes, because it goes a long way. I recently had a transaction happen like that, and the guy came out on top, went above and beyond what I expected him to do for me, because of the minor thing. It was a wrong sexed animal. It's going to set me back a few years, and he made right with it. And, if I'm looking for something, guess whose page I'm going to go to first?
Yeah,
exactly. And, keep it in your crew. You know what I mean? Like, if you got a tight knit of people you hang out with and talk to on a regular, always look what they have available first. Always look for them first. Keep it in the family. I'm a big believer on that. I'd much rather do business with you. I'd much rather do business with Keys. I'd much rather do business with Jeremy, Chatty, everybody, the whole family that we've built on this platform, definitely. And
100%, bro.
You need them in person, to meet people in person. That's key, man.
Oh yeah. Like that goes such a long way.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So much more comfortable sitting and going through a show with somebody that you've already met before and chatted it up with,
Yeah.
It just flows great.
100%, bro. 100%. Man, it's been great tonight. It's been spectacular. I really appreciate you taking your time to come out here and chat with us tonight. Definitely been looking forward to it. Really enjoyed meeting you and the family a few months back. Looking forward to Daytona.
Yeah.
See you again in Tinley. Yeah, it's gonna be dope.
Yeah, I'm excited for that, man.
In-person meetings go a long way, man. It's so much fun just like kick it back and relax and hang out with people and get to know people, network, talk, chat it up. Like it's dope, man. So
there's so many people
connecting soon.
So many people you just want to, just see in person and just, embrace, absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
Looking forward to it.
I love social media that it gives us like a way to connect when we can't like be in person, and we don't have to wait until those in-person events. But it's definitely not a substitute for the in-person stuff. It just really supplements it.
Yep.
If that makes sense.
Yep, absolutely.
Definitely, bro. Had a lot of fun, man. All the listeners, appreciate y'all for coming out tonight. Appreciate all the support each and every week. Definitely hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Make sure you're following Chris everywhere. Follow him on IG. Are you on TikTok?
I did a little bit on TikTok here and there, and then I kind of ran out of time because I went back to work full time. But now things are kind of stabilized, and so I'm gonna try to throw some more stuff on there. I'm trying to get a little bit more creative with stuff. I'm really working hard, but I need the wifey to push me and motivate me a little more. I keep kicking her butt in the butt to push me. But yeah, so we're working on it. But yeah, we got TikTok.
Gotcha. So like I made this video probably a month and a half ago. And so I don't remember what links I dropped in the description, but it's definitely links in the description to your stuff that I could find at that time. So definitely y'all make sure y'all go follow them on all platforms. Thank y'all for coming out. Can you hang around for about 40 seconds while outro plays, and then we'll kick it in the back.
Yeah. Hey, out. Anybody sees anything on Morph Market, contact me, DM me, let me know. Free shipping.
Oh,
Anybody
nice.
was tonight.
Nice. Thank y'all for coming out. Be blessed. Peace.
Later, y'all.